We'll do roll call, please.
David Pruitt.
Here.
Bart Shockley.
Present.
Tim Turney.
Here.
Ken Winkfield.
Here.
Tandy Pryor.
Here.
We have a quorum. If you have the agenda, we are moving section E, the election of all 26 officers, to right now, so we can proceed with the rest of the meeting. So, board members, we have to elect officers. Oh, sorry, thank you. Nominations or slate as it is, or whatever your preference is.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to keep the slate as is for the next year.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. No. The minutes from the December 1st meeting, they have been presented. They were in your packet. We will seek a motion to approve or deny, modify in any way.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve December 1st, 2025 as submitted.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion, corrections, changes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next order of business is the public hearing part. Item number 1, Melinda Moore has filed for a conditional use permit application on a tract of land containing 0.103 acres located at 377 Church Street. Would you care to update the board, please?
Yep. All right, there's the arrow up on the screen. We had this application filed on December 8, 2025. You heard the address is 377 Church Street. The interesting thing to note here, this is a 2-unit building, and you can see the 377 and 381. So we have 2 applications tonight. They're both identical in nature. They're for short-term rental requests in each half of this building. Again, this is a 2-unit townhome or twin home or owner-occupied duplex, whatever you want to call it, or duplex, but it's basically a 2-unit townhome with similar units to the north and south. The zoning map shows, this is a zoomed-out shot of the property there on Church Street that shows those kind of 6 units there that are somewhat identical, with the units being 2-unit townhomes with the garage spaces to the west. The property is just pretty small, but they're townhome lots at 103 acres. And the zoning map will show you right there, the property is zoned R3, which is the zone that makes the property eligible for an STR if they can get the approval of the conditional use permit. And again, on the bottom of page 1 of your staff report, you can see the applicant is requesting a CUP to operate a STR in these properties. This is a shot of the first unit there on Church Street. This is the 377 property. This is an exhibit that the applicant turned in. It's just basically a floor plan of the buildings. As you all know, we don't typically get into a whole bunch about the inside, but we're typically looking at the lot, parking, building activities that might occur on different parts of the property. On page 2 of the staff report, looks at the zoning ordinance and the authority to do short-term rentals in the R3 zone. And you can see this is all the R3 verbiage. The highlighted sections at the bottom of page 2 say that the conditional use is eligible for a short-term rental establishment, whether it be hosted or dedicated. And then we get into the overnight accommodation verbiage at the bottom of page 2 and page 3, which we know as short-term rentals. And then the highlighted section at the bottom of page 3 is the specific standard for the city of Versailles. Jump to page 5 of the staff report is our definition of short-term rental that I think everyone's familiar with, but in general, it's someone that's renting a unit under a overnight accommodation setting, less than 30 days, weekend to weekend, day to day, week to week, but it's less than 30 days. See, I got one other exhibit here. Page 6 of the staff report. Well, let me stay on that one right there. Page 6 of the staff report are the conditions of approval. Article 4, Section 407.5, as you all know, that when the conditional use permit's before this board, that you guys can attach certain conditions to that as you feel necessary. The applicant typically puts forward conditions with their application as a starter, and then sometimes you guys add to them or wordsmith their conditions. There were 4 conditions that were put for both these applications. Again, they're identical, that we'll hear on this one and the second one. Number 1 is the maximum occupancy is 6 guests in these 3-bedroom homes. There would be 2 guest parking spaces in the garage, quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., and no events or large gatherings. The staff items of concern are pretty much what we put in every application, that if this is approved, that the applicants have to get business license as well as to register with the Tourism Commission to pay the room tax that's required on these type of units. Page 7, the staff report of the review and findings that are outlined in Article 4, Section 407.4. We have review criteria and then the specific findings that are required that mirror what's in the KRS statute for CUPs, and that's in Article 4, Section 407.5, findings required. And then again on page 8 is a cookie cutter motion up or down if you get to that point, and our attorney can help you wordsmith the approvals or denials in whatever direction you go. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I believe the applicants here are is represented by counsel, and they have legal counsel here that's representing both applications.
Board members, start off, any questions for Steve?
Nope.
Hearing none, would the applicant care to speak to this motion?
And good evening. My name is Steele Rouse. I am an attorney representing the applicant. And as Steve mentioned, these 2 applications are fairly identical. So for efficiency purposes this evening, I'll be happy to provide an overview for both, understanding, of course, that you all have to consider each of these separately. As Steve mentioned in the report, this is in the R3 zone, which provides the ability for a conditional use permit for the short-term rentals. And certainly the applicant is here. I want to say Melinda Moore is here to my left, and she's happy to answer any questions that I may not be able to answer. She intends to manage this, will be running this, and looking forward to do so, and lives here in Woodford County. As the zoning ordinance provides, this is a conditional use, and I want to make importantly, I think, clear to the board that I think this is fairly unique than a lot of other, certainly in-town conditional use permits for short-term rentals, in the sense that there's already necessary off-street parking. One of the big concerns that certainly a lot of applications and opposition folks see is that it's going to increase parking. A lot of times these short-term rentals are multiple vehicles, but as you can see in these images, each of these units have a 2-car garage located in the rear off of Church Street, which I think is vastly important, as it will really make no traffic impact or parking impact for the residents along Church Street. As the application includes, the applicant is willing to provide the minimum of 3 parking spots per room, which would be 3 parking. So and again, this image shows a great example. 2 in the garage and 1 can park adjacent to the garage, well within the lot line and still off of the street, which I think is very important. I don't see this as a concern for any sort of increased density or population, as in R3. A conventional short-term rental of a family would not exceed the existing density requirements and allotments. There may be more people in the units next door. But one thing I want to point out too is that the comp plan was just updated in 2024, and I understand that the Planning Commission is continuing to do so. Specifically encourages as an objective, encourages cooperation among the various local interests, including the downtown commercial area, for hotels, inns, motels, but short-term rentals is part of that to support economic growth. This is a very nice, just 10-minute walk from downtown for events that, as this community grows, I think it's important for folks to be able to utilize this kind of flexible use for property in order to access those. a lot of times people will be concerned about short-term rentals in the sense of it affecting the look, the aesthetics of a place. And of course, as the zoning ordinance provides, there can't be any signage, nothing gaudy located outside. But this is really an incentive to continue. It's a competitive market for short-term rentals. And owners are encouraged to make these properties look the best they can and include just as advertised and really a benefit for the neighborhood to ensure these properties are going to be as maintained both on the inside, but for neighbors certainly who I thought may be here for the elections this evening, but I understand they're here to speak, to make sure those neighborhoods are still maintained the best they can. As Steve mentioned, the applicant has already provided those proposed conditions, and as I said, she's here tonight, and I'm representing both applicants, so I'm happy to answer any questions. But as the ordinance provides, there can't be more than 6 guests. This would be a dedicated short-term rental as opposed to a hosted. The applicant will not be living in the facility or in the rental unit. So 6 guests would be the maximum. And we've talked about this specifically, and she plans to provide a rule book for any sorts of guests that would be staying in this place to understand that these conditions would be, certainly reflected in that publication. The guest parking, like I said, for vehicles, the 2 in the garage, but again, as that image shows, there could be more, but there would be no on-street parking. There'd be no effect on Church Street itself. Quiet hours certainly would be enforced, and there'd be no large events or gatherings for any purpose. This would really, the hope for this would be for families who are staying, either for events, visiting with family or friends. This be a way to encourage them to experience Woodford County and Versailles and all the wonderful things that it continues to offer. So, again, I'm happy to answer questions. I think the applicant certainly is as well. She's put a lot of time and effort into this and wants to do it the best that she can.
Okay, I'm looking at quiet hours, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Before that 10 p.m., we're not looking at any amplified music or anything.
Certainly not. No, it would not be any sort of events where there's. I know you all hear a lot of the wedding venues where they're closing things down at 10 p.m. There would be simply just a concerted effort that there be no noise outside of the building after 10 p.m. But no, there would be no amplified volume anytime outside of those hours as well.
Mm-hmm.
A question. The application states 2 vehicles. Mm-hmm. Changing that to 3 with 2 in the garage and 1 outside, or 2 maximum?
She can speak to this. I think it's 2 maximum. Yeah.
2 maximum.
Yeah, it's a 2-car garage.
Okay. That's more of a clarification for me.
Right.
Because it just was a little bit different the way you were explaining. So
Sure.
just 2 cars.
Which again, I would reiterate would be invisible, if you will, from the street or even from the back of these units. If that's the case, that there are 2 parked in the garage, then they're not seen.
Okay. My other question is, you said 6 guests, and this is in a response. I read some of the emails that came in. Talked about children, talked about this. That would be 6 total. Doesn't matter how old they are or anything else. 6 total.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
You asked my 2 questions.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions for the applicant? Okay.
Mr. Rouse, just for my information, could you tell me again what that comp plan site was? Or what?
Yeah, let me get that. It's in
What
the
the nature of it
objectives.
was.
It's in the goals and objectives, and it states that to encourage cooperation among local interests, and I'll get you the specific line here. There's an encouragement section in the objectives to allow for hotels, inns, bed and breakfast, and also short-term rentals to support the economic growth to demonstrate the promotion of public welfare. That's in the comp plan, the objectives portion.
Okay.
Again,
Right, tourism 3, looks like I found it. You said encourage cooperation. Thank you.
that's it, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will open up this hearing. Did you wish to speak? Applicant? Ms. Moore, did you want to speak? Okay. So we will open up this for public comment. All public comment is limited to 3 minutes. And if you just are going to agree with the person in front of you, say, I agree, so we're not just repetitious all the way through. So we are opening it up for anyone who would like to speak to this conditional use permit. Just step up to the mic and state your name.
My name is Biff Baker. I live at 385 Church Street on one of the townhouses that are directly next door to the two that are being discussed tonight. You all have gotten my written comments, so I'm going to kind of review what was in it and to address, because I'm still a little concerned. I appreciate you trying to clarify this parking business, but to begin with, I do not support this request that's being made. And it's my understanding that most STRs are located outside the city limits, and that most STRs are with detached, standalone, single-family residential areas or buildings. And that, to my knowledge, that no townhouse has been approved for an STR since that ordinance went into effect. So this is going outside the normal course of events, the way I understand it. A conditional use request for an STR, from what I read, should be a use that is essential or promote the public health, safety, or welfare of the area in which it's being proposed. And I don't see where the proposal for these two townhouses meets any of those criteria as far as being essential, promote the public health, etc. There are, as you can see, there's 6 townhouses in this group. The 2 that are being requested to be changed are the 2 in the middle, and it's plopping something different right down in the middle of an existing that's been there over 20 years, those 6 townhouses. I think that those 2 townhouses being changed to STRs would totally change the character of our neighborhood. One thing he did mention, and it's true, is there is a common driveway shared with all 6 townhouses. And so to increase well, let me back up. Right now, the 4 that are occupied, there are only 6 people total, all adults, no children, in those 4 townhouses on either side of the 2 that are being discussed. It says up to 6 adults plus children.
No, does not.
It does not?
6 total.
Okay.
That's why I clarified that coming in.
Thank you. Well, and that's to say, there were
Okay.
some things I didn't understand. I'm clarifying them now. Okay. Having 12 additional adults in those 2 would drastically increase the number of people that are in that particular set of townhouses. You'll have to excuse me, I'm following my notes here. And I don't think that would be compatible with the existing uses that are adjacent. Am I getting close to my 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick then. Vehicular and pedestrian circulation, I believe, will be seriously affected. On the parking, again, I see that the ordinance requires 1 parking space for each guest room.
There's a change to that. They have stipulated within their proposal, no more than 2 cars. So those 6 people can have 2 cars, that's it.
I heard that part.
Okay.
But my understanding is that it's restricted to 2 vehicles per guest. So
That is not true. When we get to that point, if we have to, I'll put that in as a requirement.
okay,
I mean, it's already in here as a requirement, that there's a mandate, only 2 per unit, not 2 per guest.
great,
So
great.
if they're both, if they're approved, I'm not saying anything,
And that's fine,
maximum 4 vehicles.
okay.
For both properties.
Yeah, both of them together,
2 per unit,
per unit.
period.
Okay. Well, then if this dusk is approved, then I'll, on a more positive note, I would have some suggestions that I'd like to make.
Okay.
And one
Quickly.
is adult, there's not a good definition of adult. Adult, in my mind, is 18 or over. I'm not interested in having 6 or 8 college kids coming in for the weekend to go to Keeneland. I'd like the adult to be at least 25 or older.
I'll do it.
And I would also like that children be under 18 years of age specified. And then y'all think about that, rather than somebody coming in with adult children. Because it says adults plus accompanying children, so I would like just to clarify.
Well.
But that's,
Okay.
all right.
Well, we can, if we get to that point.
If you get to that
we'll
point. And my townhouse is 17 feet from the next door neighbor. Quiet hours, 10 to 8. I suggest that that implies that there's loud hours. I'd like it to be clarified that there's no loud noise.
So can I,
And if it's loud
can I
enough,
say something kind of facetiously?
sure,
We'll put the same restrictions on them as we put on you.
that's fine.
Okay. Because you don't have any restrictions.
And I don't have a short-term rental.
Correct. So, and that's what I'm being facetious. If somebody went in and rented the whole house out, they could put 10 people in that house. Then we could do nothing about it.
But you could have the quiet, though. That's
No,
what,
not if they rented it outside of a short-term rental.
okay.
Being a short-term rental allows us to put regulations and rules and conditions on them using it. If they were just to rent it outright to somebody, and tell me if I get out of line here, just outright, let's just say my brother-in-law wants to rent it for a year. He has 4 kids, and there's probably going to be 4 adults in there.
And
But-
Mr. Attorney, I'm not arguing that.
And I'm just saying that's just,
Yeah.
because they're short-term and they're asking for something, that gives this board the right and the obligation to set restrictions on them so it doesn't affect anything else. And that's kind of the reason, in my opinion, that we do this. Otherwise, if they couldn't, it would be a free-for-all for everybody. So,
Okay. Well,
You were beeping.
I've used up my time. and
I know your beeper went off.
No, that's me.
Oh, that was your beeper. I didn't know you set yours.
I think Mr. Pruitt was wanting me to sit down.
We're good.
Thank you all.
I
for
do
clarifying,
appreciate it.
But I still think it would have an adverse effect on our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else care to speak to this?
Hello, my name is Kathy Lawson, and I live at 373 Church Street, which is right on the other side. Actually, the company that built them, I was a partner in that. Know the intent for what they were built, and I've lived there for probably about 11 years. When Biff said there were 6 people in the other 4 townhouses, that's going to double if we get 6 people per unit. There is 18 feet between the townhouses, and the backyard, which is extremely small, has a little patio and is only separated by a fence. There are 2-car garages. The way that the back driveway is situated, if you parked along the back lot, people can't get out of the garages because there's not enough room. The access from Church Street to the back of the townhouses is 2 cars can't pass each other. There is not a turnaround in the back. You know how large Church Street is. It's very difficult to get 2 cars down through there anyway. In the back is the original lot to the property, which has a barn an older barn there, and is still being used. Depending on children, I would be very concerned, because that looks like a child's place to go play. It would be very dangerous, and I don't see any need or reason to build any fences or anything, because it's the original property there. Also, I was partner when the Woodford Inn was built. Drew the plans and ran it for a while. I know what things happen when people come into town, rent a room. I know what they expect. I know sometimes that they feel like they're away from home, so they don't have a lot of rules and people can't see. It would be very difficult to deal with some of the situations I had to deal with at Woodford Inn in a situation as a residential neighborhood. These are our homes. We go out and we work all day, some of us 7 days a week. We come back home, and if we want to sit out back just to get away from everything, we're not going to go sit at a hotel. We're not going to go sit on the public street. We want our private backyard. So that's one of the issues too. To put 12 people back there is going to eliminate all of that. When you're looking at it, because of the situations that it's in, if you want to drive out there and even drive the back patio and driveway and access to the back, you'll find it's very small and very tight. The corner is visible. We have a mirror, one of the reflector mirrors, just to make sure everything's okay. Just because there are 2-car garages don't mean people will park in them. And if we are coming and going and something happens and we're getting blocked in or anything like that, maybe not happen, but possibly. We can't have that, of course, because we have to go to work. I have a friend that manages a big company's Airbnbs. The amount of problems that they have, the amount of even sometimes damages that they have, disrespect for people close by. She came over and looked at it, and she said she would definitely not recommend that as a B&B or an Airbnb because of the residential homes being 18 feet away on both sides. So, thank you. Like I say, we're talking about our homes. We're not talking about economic growth. We have hotels coming in, we have motels coming in, we have new homes coming in that are not in a situation that are 18 feet apart and on a very small road. I think you can find other places that would serve it better.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Good evening. My name is Sharon Tankersley. Thank you for letting me have just a few minutes. I live at the very end of the row of townhouses next to the very thin shared-in driveway. And my husband and I have lived there for a number of years. We've lived on Church Street even longer. We intentionally moved across Church Street because of the unique nature of the neighborhood on that side of Church Street. These are people that care for one another, look out for one another. We are invested in each other's well-being the way that only long-term residents could be. And so that's an important aspect for you to consider, I think, when you think about if you decide to approve this permit, what you lay out in terms of those terms so that you help us protect the integrity of that investment as a neighborhood. I also would like to mention a couple of things that I don't think have been mentioned yet tonight. One has to do with the nature of the throughway known as Church Street. It's a very narrow street. It is used by all of Versailles as a pass-through to bypass traffic jams on Main Street. And it's too skinny for that. And so every bit of additional traffic that we add by design, such as these transitional, these short-term rental vehicles coming in and out, the service vehicles that are apt to come along with that. Somebody's got to come in between every rental situation and clean. They're not going to bother to drive around to the back unless you insist that they do. They're going to park in the gravel, parallel parking along this very narrow section of Church Street that school buses already have a hard time getting down, that residents along that neighborhood have a hard time passing through. It is a pedestrian-heavy thoroughfare, and yet there's no sidewalk. It's already a safety issue. Every additional vehicle scenario that we add to that adds to my safety concerns. I work from home part-time. I sit in a front upper window and I watch near misses all day, every day, with vehicles and pedestrians along Church Street. I'm very concerned. We have a speeding problem along that little strip of Church Street. So these are things that factors that I'm wanting to help flesh out the story as you make a judicious decision, whether for or against, and also if for, these are some things you might want to consider addressing when you stipulate the boundaries with which they can use these properties as short-term rentals. I very much hope that you will think about the turnover and the fact that anybody that comes in there isn't invested like we are in the neighborhood. They don't care after they leave whether there's trash all over the front of the lawn, whether they have taken care of the property while they were there. Who is going to make them adhere to the rules in the rule book that's printed out and left on the coffee table for them to peruse on their first evening? I've stayed in Airbnbs. No one's checking up on me. I'm a good citizen and I try to follow the rules, but I could easily break them. And so I hope that you stipulate in any rules that you decide to govern, if you choose to let it go that way, that there have to be some local skin in the game. Somebody who's making sure that if I have to make a phone call at 11 o'clock at night because it's after hours and there's a raging party down the block, that there's somebody I can call before I call the police. I don't want it to be that way. And so I hope that if you do decide to allow it to go that way, that you really think about some of these other implications. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Good evening. My name is Bob Tankersley. My wife Sharon just spoke. I am one of the pastors at First Christian Church here in Versailles, and I want to make sure that you all understand, and that you all understand that we're not trying to keep people out of our neighborhood. This isn't a situation of like we don't want those people here. It is just we have several elderly people in the area. As my wife mentioned, it is very pedestrian heavy, and the area is already taxed as far as traffic is concerned. Sharon and I live on the corner where the driveway is. We will bear the brunt of the ingress and egress traffic. We already do. I mean, it's just, we live up probably on the noisiest townhouse there on the space there. And that's my main concern. I would just ask that we as the neighbors would have, if you all approve, that we would have the information of, as my wife mentioned, who to contact when violations occur. When, as my neighbor Kathy said, if we're trying to get out in the morning and get to work and it's blocked, we need to know who to go to. And you can understand my hesitance to go to someone who is not of the neighborhood and go knock on a door early in the morning and possibly have some sort of altercation happen because they don't want to be bothered at 6 o'clock when we have to leave for work. But again, our main issue is we're not trying to keep people out. I want to see Woodford County grow. But I also want us to see it very, very tempered in what is a very, very small area there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Yes, I'm gonna speak not so much about the,
State your name.
oh, excuse me, Angel Rubio.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I actually live on Montgomery Avenue on the other side. And so I know when I'm looking at these pictures, it makes me really fearful because of the way that where Biff has his property and his barn, it just gets all squeezed up. And I'm just concerned that the very same problems that we have in Montgomery, which it's been over a year now, that we were supposed to get paved and painted and safety rules and stuff like that, that it just makes that whole neighborhood less approachable. And so that even though I'm not in the property, I'm really, just like everybody else, is concerned about what are the problems that are going to emerge with this situation. And like they were saying, if those two houses has kids and people that keep going out, we can say they're not going to go run out in the big beautiful area, but they may, and then somebody could get hurt. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue? Anyone else? Seeing none, we will close this. Whoa.
I might have a couple follow-up questions for the applicant or her attorney.
Sure.
If you'd like to, somebody come up. It's more probably for the applicant than the attorney.
Okay.
All right, and a couple of them. So,
Wait. State your name.
Melinda Moore.
Okay.
so a couple of questions. When I was looking at the property, and I noticed that some of the townhomes had what appeared to be like a little slit for parking, like a little short
Yes, sir.
driveway.
Yes, sir.
Does your property have one of those?
I think those are not assigned. It's first come, first serve. I actually have one on the left side of me and one to the right of AJ. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they're assigned. I think it's first come, first serve.
Okay.
Also, since you brought it up, there are cars that park along the back side of there all the time. I know because I check on my townhouse frequently. And they park long ways. I see nothing wrong with it because you can still get through. No problem. But there are cars that are there all the time parked outside of their garages.
Okay. Another question I have is, how many days a year do you expect the unit to be rented?
Oh, it would be nice if it was a lot, but probably not that much.
100? 200?
Oh, maybe 100.
100 days a year?
If I was hopeful.
Per unit, right? Well, she's just right.
And I'm not going to spend the money to make this a beautiful place for people to come stay, to have it destroyed, abused, or do I want any of my neighbors to be abused?
Okay. One other question. I know in the past, and somebody brought it up, would you be agreeable to putting in a stipulation that the person renting the property has to be at least 25?
Well, what if a family wants to bring in their little children?
Well, they can.
No. Go ahead.
Not everybody has to be 25. The main person renting it.
I was going to
has
say
be
because
25.
young families
I'm saying
might want to come
one
visit.
person signing has to be 25.
I understand. No, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, and then
Actually, I would prefer that.
okay, and then one other person that spoke in opposition mentioned cleaning, right? And so I'm assuming after each visit you'll have some service or somebody.
A cleaning crew.
So where would they park?
In the garage.
They would park in the garage?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they would be told.
And you'd be willing to have that as a
Oh, yeah, I mean,
stipulation that the cleaning crew?
absolutely.
Okay.
I had a question. If they have a problem like what they were talking about, will they be calling you or do you have a management company?
Okay, I can't answer that yet because this hasn't been approved.
Uh-huh.
So I honestly.
I guess if you registered with Airbnb, then that is a whole different thing, correct?
Well, I haven't crossed that bridge yet. So I'm not sure if you'd answer to me or to a company.
I think.
But right now, let's just say it's me.
Okay.
To answer it.
Well,
I
I
guess,
think it's important.
yeah, I guess the question might be, you will have somebody that is assigned, that's the phone number that they could call 24 hours a day if there's a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
And just a little clarification, not for this, but anytime a neighbor or anyone has a complaint against the Airbnb, that's what we're here for. So if it does get, this is all about ifs, if it were to get approved, and this is true for any Airbnb, not just these, if there's a complaint against them that they're in violation of the ordinance or the conditions that are set forth by us, come to us, actually to Kim, we'll send the investigator out there, and then we will take the appropriate action, whether that is to remove the CUP, address the issue, but that's kind of our job. We do have people that are out there, you know, to enforce. Now, if they do something so minor in the house that there's no way anybody would know it, I can't, but if they're blocking you in, you contact us, that situation will be addressed, or any other thing like that. That makes, just so everybody knows, there is a process in place that addresses those issues. Okay. This hearing is still open, and you want to, I'll go ahead, we'll let you go one more time.
Well,
Up. You gotta go up front.
a question was brought up that I didn't discuss, but since it was brought up, and it was about the lot behind the townhouses and the barn lot. That's my property.
Okay.
And if this request is approved, what can I do to ensure that the owners of those two townhomes, if there could be something in the contracts that they signed simply saying, be put on notice, you are not allowed, because there is not a fence there.
Correct.
That you're not, to keep my liability at a minimum, if at least those people are notified that's private property and they are not allowed on that barn lot.
I think that is a condition we could probably put in. I will have a caveat to that, though.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody, a neighbor, had a family gathering and there were small children and they went out there, who's liable?
I'm always liable.
I know, that's my point.
Right, no, but
So
it's kind of like, there's a layer, it creates a layer of protection.
And I don't think that's an issue to put
That,
notice in there that that's your private property.
Right. And if anybody, if anybody does, if any of my neighbors that are there now want to go to the fire pit or go cook some hot dogs, that's fine, I don't care. I do care though, if it's a transient bunch of people in there all the time and they decide to go over there and use my fire pit, I don't want that to occur.
No, that's not
an unfair.
No, that's not an unfair request, that nobody can go on your property and do that. I mean, that's not an issue. That's kind of a.
But it would just help, it would help if the people knew up front, rather than them doing it and me have to go out there and go and get off my property.
That's not a problem.
It would be better if they knew not to do it, and then if they did do it, there'd be more teeth into my protection.
Okay. I've got a whole list of things here, so.
Thank you.
We'll see which way we go here. Anyone else care to make a comment?
I'd just like to add one thing.
Up here.
As I said earlier, I had a friend of mine who manages several counties of Airbnbs. The intent is never to have an issue, but unfortunately, with the Airbnb situation, and I'm sure you all have heard them, that there are issues with it. You can put as many things as you want to in place. You can put as many conditions and rules. But I'm just asking you to look at this particular situation. The roads, the drives. Yes, there's 2-car garage, and yes, you can park at the back, but you cannot back out of the driveway with cars, or back out of the garage with cars parked on the back side of that drive. But just, I think there are places that would be more suitable to it, easier access to things. Just take it all in consideration, please. Like I said, this is our home. Thank you.
Thank you. One more time. Anybody else? Hearing none. Board members, any more questions? Right. Would you like to have a closing statement as an applicant? You get to do that.
Yeah, I'll just be brief. I think these have been good discussions and been, again, transparent. I'm glad that Ms. Moore is here to answer those questions. I think, Chairman Attorney, as you mentioned, a lot of these uses are going to be less really offensive than a permanent long-term resident, whether it's an owner-occupied or a lease situation. Ms. Moore lives here. She wants to make sure that this is going to be maintained as nicely as can be, with a limit on any sort of activity that you all wouldn't want in your backyard. So I want this to be a continued conversation, certainly, beyond this evening. If there are any concerns, I know my office is happy to help as well. So unless you'll have any other questions, or if you want to speak.
All right. Thank you all very much. We will now close this hearing. Board members, we will have time to discuss between ourselves before we entertain a motion, if anybody wants to say anything. I know there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said.
A couple of items that I would like to be added to any motion is there'd be no off-street parking.
Okay, well, no on-street parking.
Yes, along Church Street.
Right. On street. On street,
sorry, on street.
It would be off-street along Church Street, because there is an area to park.
How about if we just say they have to be in the garage?
There you go, that was my next thing. The 2-car garage, that's where they're gonna stay at all times. No parking outside of the garage. And then, if there's any service vehicle there to service any equipment or do cleaning, they, in addition, will park in the garage. And keeping the property.
I'm going to add a couple if we're going to go down this road right now. The contact information, they were talking about putting a book out there, should be within that book, front page, so first thing they know who to contact. And if you could share that book with the two adjoining the other condos, just so they would have a copy of that too. Hey, Biff, you can talk later. I can't do that.
Were you talking about service? I was trying to help her out just now.
Well, we'll work on that. I appreciate that, but we can only have one conversation at a time. Otherwise, the lawyer gets mad at me. Sorry. But contact, and if you have a rules book, and I would say if we're not really dealing with the other unit right now, but if they're identical, if they would both have them, share them with the residents of the other 4 condos. Just that would have the contact information, who they can call, and what the basic rules are. Within that, probably the no trespassing on the farm behind where the barn is. Within that, I would also ask to be safe, put up a little sign, no trespassing, which I think goes a long way. That way, kind of everybody knows where the boundaries are, because yes, it is on them, but yes, it's also on you. Absolutely. So that people know going back that far. I can't put a condition in here to make you do something,
I'd be happy to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Just that 25-year-old or older, as far as the rentee. And that's really,
And it's already mentioned that it's limited to 2 cars.
Right.
6 guests total. That
Yep,
would
6
include
guests
children.
total.
Anything else that goes through
no amplified music we talked about.
there? The only thing I might, if everybody would be agreeable to this, is to drop that 10 down to 9. I don't think it makes any difference. They're gonna be inside. Nobody's having, but it just may help. I think, and these are all, if this directions we want to go, since we started doing that. A couple of the issues that I'm going to tell you about, because this is us discussing right now, but I want to do it out loud, so everybody. Unfortunately, we have no control over city streets and congestion. I wish we did. I can't mandate to the city to go in and fix streets, to widen them. I think we can make pushes and make recommendations, but that is kind of outside our jurisdiction. Kind of like on-street parking.
Right.
We have no jurisdiction over that, one way or the other. I wish we did sometimes. Correct me if I'm wrong, these 2 units are attached, correct? So they're not, as someone brought up a house that was separate, even by a little bit, from another house. These are the 2 units that are attached to each other. So the biggest inconvenience is going to be to each other. Yes, I get on each side. But the comment was made, houses are separate. Well, if you take both those units as one, it is a little separate than the other places. Gives you a little bit of barrier between each one. I do not know, when I drove back there, to be honest, I don't remember because I didn't walk behind the garage. Is there any kind of shielding between, you talked about privacy on the patios? Is there any kind of shielding between those 2, I'm not even going to say between the 2 that are together, but between the middle units and the outside unit?
Yeah, they're fenced. The back patio?
Yes.
Is fenced.
It
all
is
the way
fenced.
up.
Okay.
It's an adjoining fence between the property.
Okay. So basically, if guests from the short-term rental, they're not visible, or your patio is not visible from their patio.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's a slat-footed,
Okay.
yeah, you could stand up to the fence and see what's going on.
But I mean, it's not, there's a divider.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. I was curious to make sure, the way I understood it, my misunderstanding was that it was all open, but there would be, okay. All right. That's good, go ahead.
6 guests maximum, just to
Yep,
be.
and that's already in there. Speak up. It's all right. Okay. Art,
I'm good.
you're good? You're okay?
My issues were addressed.
Okay.
He did go over all that.
All right. With all this discussion, we will seek a motion to approve or deny this one conditional use permit.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve the conditional use permit for a short-term rental establishment in an existing structure located at 377 Church Street, along with the applicants and boards to agreed upon property conditions. The testimony presented in the public hearing has showed that the use does meet the requirement of the zoning ordinance. And then we have the other stipulations that we have.
Turn this part over to the attorney to.
If that suits you, Mr. Wingfield, I'll jump in here. Well, I would suggest that this permit is justified. We have to talk about whether the use promotes the public welfare, and counsel for the applicant gave a comp plan objective of cooperation among various local interests that serve as attractions for visitors, so it satisfies that objective. As far as conditions that we added, I have down that the primary renter, the signing renter, must be 25 or older, that the cleaning crew must park in the garage. And I was looking at Airbnb listings during this. There's a house rules section, so I would suggest that we put it in house rules that it's a condition that the barn lot in the rear is private property, that guest parking shall be in the garage only, and that you put contact information for a 24-hour local contact in the guest book and share that book with other townhouse residents on Church Street, that there be no amplified music, and that we adjust quiet hours to start at 9 p.m.
One other item that I'd like to see added, that any service vehicles that might be maintaining, I know you mentioned cleaning, doing general cleaning, but any service vehicles might be checking on the air conditioning, working on the water heaters and such like that.
Okay. So, the service people, like say the air conditioner guy, I don't want him in my garage. But could he pull up right next to parallel parking, right there, as long as he blocks no one else in?
That's, I was gonna mention, that's what I was mentioning.
Okay.
The counselor there, so
See, these counselors, they know
that
that.
if she needs new HVAC, if I need one,
Right. I mean, those
they're
are,
gonna take up space.
those are extended weight, yeah, but I agree.
And if you need HVAC, you can't put them in a garage.
Correct.
Stuff like that,
Yeah,
it happens
Yeah.
all the time.
so we're all on the same page. Good job.
Okay.
That's because
I'm good.
you do this one right.
I'm good.
Anything else?
That was all I had, Mr. Chair.
Are you okay with all that?
Yes, I am.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the conditional use permit signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Second item on the list is A.J. Brewer has filed a conditional use permit application on a tract of land, 0.1.03 acres. Steve, not much to update, but go right ahead.
Just point out that this is the picture of the other unit, south looking towards, or kind of northwest area there. And this is 381, the lots are same size, different property owner, same zoning, same request, same conditions. Again, not much I need to add, just unless y'all have any questions for me, it's the same request on the other side of, the south side of the townhome.
Board members, any questions?
No, Steve, I'm just glad you just didn't say ditto.
Counselor, would you care to speak to this?
I will speak extremely briefly. Just as before, I think this is supported by the same reference in the comp plan, but more importantly, because this is a shared wall, I think there's some incentive for public welfare that these be treated similarly, and that's why the only thing to add to this one is that there be some consistency in this application as well.
Would your client be willing to accept the same conditions?
I think in the sense of, and Ms. Moore can speak to this.
State your name again.
Melinda Moore.
Okay.
My friend, A.J. Brewer, we bought those units the same time, same day, da-da-da. He's in South Africa. We are speaking on his behalf.
He is speaking on your behalf.
Yes, he's speaking on his behalf.
So you can't legally represent him.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, just to clarify.
Of course, as applications suggest, these two are familiar with each other's applications and have agreed to apply simultaneously with the intention of having the same conditions and the same limitations on any sort of short-term residential, short-term rentals.
Would anyone in the audience care to speak again? Seeing none, board members, any more questions? We will then close this hearing and seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use permit.
That's horrible. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve it with the same qualifications that were discussed for the 377 Church Street property.
We can do that, right? Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Motion has been made, identical motion to the last one. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and second. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. Motion carries. We will seek one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. I think we had